You know, the craziest part about life is that most of the limitations that we have put on ourselves don't even belong to us. They don't belong to us. They don't belong to us. We don't have proof or facts or receipts that this is true. We either A, heard someone else say it about us when we were younger, and then we kind of adopted it. You know, we were like, oh, okay, this thing is true. Or B, we tried it once and it didn't quite work out. So therefore we decided that one time out of the 16 trillion days that we have and 2 gazillion hours being alive on the planet, that 1 hour, that 1 week, or that 1 month was representation of the muscle that we could build to do the thing. Or third, we looked at ourselves because of our age, demographic, you know, male versus female, weight, whatever, knowledge, education, college degree, whatever. And then we're like, we can't do it. We cannot do it. Let me tell you something. Not only is this not true, but this is not true. This is not true. This is not true. Most of the things that you can do, like you are so much more capable than you think. Take this bread, for instance. I'm about to make this bread from scratch. And I've also become the kind of person that knows not only how to bake the bread, but how to bake it from scratch and what to do when something goes wrong. And you're going to see in this video that something goes wrong in me making bread. Now, let me tell you what I've done so far, okay? So this is about 1.25 cups of warm water. And then I took about 2 spoons and another teaspoon. So about 2 tablespoons, 2 1/4 tablespoons of yeast. Then I took about 1/4 cup of olive oil. Now, a lot of people will use canola oil or vegetable oil because it'll make the bread spongier and like, you know, softer. But for my family, I don't want that ingredient if I can help it. So we replace it with olive oil. So 1/4 of olive oil, a teaspoon of salt. Truthfully, in this bread, I wish I had put in 2 teaspoons of salt, to be honest. And then 6 cups of flour. You put the 6 cups of flour in really slowly. And as you can see, I went to the mixer, but you could do it by hand same way, and you could knead it. If you were going to do it, you're going to knead it for 7 minutes. Now, here's what happens in this picture. I put this thing to rise, and then I took my girls out, and we had a girls' night out for hours. So I left this thing, I forgot it, on the stove. Now, as you can see, it got a little crunchy on top. But it doesn't matter. So we went and touched the road. We went out these streets, and me and my daughters and all 5. It was great. It was a girls' night out. We had a great time. Now we came back and this dough was like this. And you would look at this dough and be like, oh, this dough was done for. It's not. So instead of kneading it, okay, so it rose for about 4 hours, maybe 5. No, a little less than that. So instead of kneading it, I decided not to knead it and put it on a thing because then it would be too tough. So I oiled them very, very well. Okay, I got 2 pans, and I got 2 pans because I wanted to see. I was running a test for our cafe. I don't know if you know, but we're opening a cafe in downtown Phoenix, and so I was just running a test in baking aluminum versus glass, and I wanted to see what would happen. So I'm oiling these with olive oil, doing it very well. I cut them in half, and then I just kind of shape them with my hands real quick. I'm just shaping them with my hands, and as you can see, I'm shaping them into a loaf. And what I'm doing is I'm keeping the top together and seamless, and I'm tucking in the bottom. Tuck. I'm crazy. Okay, so you tuck in the bottom, then you put it here. Now, many years ago, I would have looked at these people making bread and been like, you can't do that. Tiffany Larky, you don't know how. You're not a bread maker. You're not super talented in that way. You're kind of rusty. You don't even have all that fancy equipment. But I had my own willingness. Really, it boils down to not what can you do, but what are you willing to do? Now, in this particular bread, you saw that there was that hole in that gap. I wish I wouldn't have left that hole in that gap because because the bread was so dry, it ends up leaving a hole when it breaks, but that's okay because we use that first bread for dipping. And then Okay, so hold on, let me tell you what's happening. Now we need to cover this thing up, all right? We're covering it up. I let it rise for about 30 minutes more. You see it got bigger. Woohoo! It got bigger. Looks delicious. Now in the oven you go. So in the oven. Now, truthfully, again, I was too busy talking and hanging out. I left these like 4 minutes too long. They're a little crunchier. Not crunchier. So they're actually cool. So don't worry about that toughness. If you come out and they're toughness, that's okay. They're gonna like fall into place when you let them cool down and get nice and soft. Oh God, my daughter came down. Now I want to mind you, it's 3 a.m. So when we got back, it was 12:30 at night. Now it's 3 a.m. Me and my 14-year-old are hanging out, living our best life. Do you see this heat though? Do you see that heat? This bread was delicious. We leave this glass bread, which turns out to be the better item for us to cook in, or bake in. But dear God, this bread was delicious. Oh my God, at 3 a.m, my daughter and I were living it up in our best lives. I'll show you the other loaf and a sandwich in another video.